Oschersleben is the venue for the German round of the 2016 FIM Sidecar World Championship, the fifth host of the season and the last double race weekend. With the right results, both title races could be decided on the most modern of the 2016 sidecar circuits. A huge crowd packed into Assen for the Gamma Racing Day, featuring round 4 of the 2016 World Championship. Reeves and Clues were again the favourites after their victory in Hungary and didn't disappoint as they led from lights to flag for a crucial win. Pfeiffer-Inter and Kainalainen passed main championship rivals Schlosser and Hofer on lap 3 for an important second position, their fourth consecutive top 2 finish to open a 26-point championship lead. Stroyer and Kurtz enjoyed their best result of the season at the scene of their 2015 triumph and home Grand Prix, but missed out on the podium by a single position and now look resigned to 5th in the series overall. A close race in the end up front, Pfeiffer-Inter and Kainalainen losing ground as Reeves and Clues worked quicker through the back markers, but they were close at the finish. Benetton Birchall enjoyed a quiet race in 6th as they maintained their unbeaten run in the F2 World Trophy, and they have an opportunity to seal the title in Oschersleben after the retirement of Grabmüller and Kirchhofer, who dropped 13 points further back from Bachmeier and Weschelberger in the F2 standings. Mechanical problems in Croatia and Hungary have left Reeves and Clues with a lot of ground to make up, but all they can do is keep up their winning run and hope for misfortune for other teams around them. One second-place finish in the remaining 3 races will be enough for Benetton Birchall to take the crown in the F2 World Trophy. Separate battles ongoing for the remaining podium positions. A third victory of 2016 for the 2014 World Champions leaves them within 6 points of Schlosser and Hofer in second in the series. 4 outfits still in the title race coming into Oschersleben, but Pfeiffer-Inter and Kainalainen won't need to win another race this season to take the crown. They hold a 26-point championship lead. Oschersleben was the venue for the final round of the 2015 FIM Sidecar World Championship, and 20,000 fans packed in, optimistic of seeing another championship decider at German Speed Week in 2016, with leaders in the F2 World Trophy and World Championship categories in a position to seal up their titles with a round to spare. A single change among the top 5 in Oschersleben. Geert Kurtz out with a hand injury and replaced by fellow countryman Gerard Dalhusen alongside world champion Benny Stroyer. Just 20 points away from the World Trophy, Benetton Birchall lined up 6th on the grid and first in class, 6 positions clear of the nearest F2 runner. World Championship leaders Pfeiffer-Inter and Kainalainen took 3rd in qualifying behind Reeves and Clues. Schlosser and Hofer were pole sitters for the second time in 2016, after topping the timesheets by less than 0.3 of a second. The top 4 outfits were separated by just over a second in one of the most competitive qualifying sessions of 2016. A great race between them therefore in prospect. Benetton Birchall led row 3 ahead of John Holden and replacement passenger Mark Wilkes. Local wildcard outfit Schroeder and Worth started 14th behind second F2 runner Grabmüller and Kirchhofer. A total of 22 outfits on the grid. Championship leaders Pfeiffer-Inter and Kainalainen made a strong start from 3rd on the grid to move ahead of rivals Reeves and Clues. The green liveried machine swept back around the outside of the opening turn, giving them the inside and track position into the hotel complex. The main story of the sprint race was a 3-way tussle over 5th. Holden and Wilkes held the position into the first turn, up from 7th on the grid above Benetton Birchall, but they were relegated down to 6th by the recovering Stroyer and Dalhusen. Schlosser and Hofer maintained track position but were unable to break away from Reeves and Clues, who remained just 0.3 of a second behind after 3 laps. A second back down the road, Päivärinta and Kainalainen struggled to maintain the pace, but a red flag situation on the 4th lap neutralised the action, the number 102 of Smits and Verhagen crashing out from 12th position, and the grid reassembled once their stricken outfit had been removed from the grass runoff. The outfits returned to the start line in positions as they were at the end of the last fully completed lap, meaning a race restart on lap 4 with only 9 laps to be completed. Päivärinta and Kainalainen were unable to repeat their fast start as the front 3 ran down to the first turn in grid order. A good break from the 72, Delanois and Rousseau blocked well by Reeves and Clues in the sweep down to turn 1. The Frenchman remained pegged to the back of Päivärinta and Kainalainen in the battle for the last podium place, while the front 2 outfits quickly restored their advantage. Roscher and Burkhardt suffered a slow start to the opening laps of the sprint race, but the restart helped them to recover 8th position, getting the better of Dichon and Peugeot and leading the group of mid-pack runners to the finish. Meanwhile, with Holden and Wilkes seemingly holding back Streuer and Dalhusen in the restart, Benetton Birchall were able to remain in contention from 7th. Bachmeier and Weschelberger dropped to 3rd in the F2 World Trophy after a costly retirement. The 22 outfit collected Dallin and Dealey as they got it wrong, attempting to pass Axelsen and Neilands for 17th. Delanois and Rousseau narrowed the gap to Päivärinta and Kainalainen from half a second to just 0.3 of a second and set about attacking the Finns on lap 7. But that was as close as the French duo got to the podium, as Päivärinta and Kainalainen opened the gap to 3 seconds by the finish to take 3rd. In 6th, reigning world champions Streuer and Dalhusen were caught between attacking Holden and Wilkes and defending against Benetton Birchall. The number 16 outfit continued to have the upper hand in terms of cornering speed, but struggled to consolidate overtaking manoeuvres as they were again blown away in the straights. Streuer and Dalhusen sat 0.2 of a second behind Holden and Wilkes at the end of lap 8, but were continually held back by their fight with Tom and Ben Birchall. The F2 leaders have clearly lost none of their competitive edge, remaining in the fight with a series of opportunistic inside moves. Streuer and Dalhusen finally burst through into lap 10, but in their eagerness to make the move, they missed the apex of turn 1, and Holden and Wilkes simply cut back past for 5th. And to compound matters, Benetton Birchall carried their momentum onto the tail of the number 1 outfit, and down the inside around turn 6 and 7 for 6th. Back at the front, Schlosser and Hofer dramatically extended their lead in the closing 3 laps to take an emphatic victory over Reeves and Clues, their first since the Croatian Grand Prix and their second consecutive podium finish. The race continued for 5th, with Streuer and Dalhusen getting back past Benetton Birchall and cutting down the inside of Holden and Wilkes into the final bend to finally snatch the place. Benetton Birchall were unable to follow them past, but nonetheless finished first of the F2 runners to seal the World Trophy with 2 races to spare. Schlosser and Hofer reignited their championship hopes with a 3rd race win of 2016, a perfect pole to checkered race victory. 3 riders in the battle for 5th, eventually separated by just 0.7 of a second, but almost 30 seconds adrift of the race winner. The top 4 positions settled in the early stages. Behind the established top 7, Roscher and Burkhardt were once again best of the rest, but lost a point to John Holden's Silicon Barnes Racing. Grabmuller and Kirchhofer finished 12th, second of the F2 runners.
Feel good. It was a hard race, yeah. It was a good fight with John and Benny. And they were faster on the straights, but we're faster in the corners. But it was another win for us in the 600 class, and I look forward to the long race tomorrow. I think it'll be better for us when it's a longer race. But yeah, it's hot conditions for everyone, but great.
Battles continue for second and fourth in the F2 World Trophy, but the winners are confirmed with a round to spare. Ben and Tom Birchall become only the second different winners of the series. The first time this season that Reeves and Clues have been beaten on outright pace. Their only previous defeats in Croatia after mechanical problems. A top 10 finish for wildcard Schroeder and Worth, close to Gray and Christie at the finish for 9th. A close and separate battle for positions 11 to 13.
Ja, das Rennen für uns war super. Der Start war genau das, was wir wollten.
I like this weather. When it's hard, that's when I go well. Everyone was pushing hard for the first few laps, but after 3 laps the engine was still running well and the tyres and passenger were perfect.
Im Prinzip eigentlich schön ruhig gemacht in den ersten 2 Runden und dann sind wir weggefahren, wo die Reifen eben im Limit schon waren, aber für uns eben dann gut.
Reeves and Clues move up to third over Delanois and Rousseau, but it's Schlosser and Hoffer who get their challenge back on track. With Reeves and Clues between them and the championship leaders, it's a 9-point gain and the championship deficit is narrowed to 17 points. This weekend, a new champion has been crowned in the F2 World Trophy. Ben and Tom Birchall taking the 600cc category of the World Championship Series. But as of next year, 600cc machines, such as those ridden by the Birchall brothers, will be the norm throughout the grid under new regulations. As a former Grand Prix winner, team boss and promoter, Ralph Bonhurst is uniquely placed to understand the sport's move towards a single class of racing in 2017. We started with the 600s 2 years ago as a matter of safety after some bad accidents on the 1000s. We gave the teams 2 years to change over and adapt, and now we're making the step to the 600s. With this change, we're reducing the horsepower from 220 to 145 bhp, which in itself is safer. And because the bike's centre of gravity is much lower and the bike is lighter, the handling will also be much better. For people who are just starting out in racing, it will be much easier to ride on a 600. The aim is to have one class worldwide, so anyone can take their bike and race anywhere they want.
Eine einzige einheitliche 600er-Klasse haben. Darauf zielen wir hin. Das wird ein sehr steiniger Weg, schwieriger Weg, aber es geht dabei nichts über die 600.
Under the new regulations, we will only be using stock engines, engines like you have in your normal road bike with no tuning. Only changing a limited number of parts to meet sidecar requirements will be allowed, so things such as valve springs. The engine is therefore very cheap.
Vom Fahrgefühl her auf die alten Zeiten des Zweitakters zurück.
The Birchalls have had really good results this year. They finished 3 races in 4th position, which is brilliant on the 600. It shows that the bikes are reliable, particularly over long distances. They've been overtaking the big sidecars near the end of races, so the 600s are making better use of the tyres and brakes. The change should also make racing much closer, because the bikes handle better and some of the back markers will come closer to the top guys.
Das Fahrzeug an sich hat auch viel weniger Verschleiß und lässt sich auf die lange Distanz einfach auch einfacher fahren.
There has been no catching Ben and Tom Birchall in 2016, the F2 favourites unbeaten in 8 races. But they remain well aware that their World Trophy success this year is only the first step towards their target of returning to the World Championship with their newly developed bike next year.
It was a big decision that we made back in April in 15, and then as big a decision that when we came back a year ago in this race with the 600 for the first time. And it's been a difficult year in some ways, because I always have to keep thinking about next year to keep the motivation to, you know, to the result it's going to give us. And I need to thank my sponsors and people that help us for also making the decision with me, and you know, hopefully next year it's going to pay off when we can really challenge for the true World Championship with the 600.
This year it's been a little bit of a mix, because you know, we've come to all the circuits without any prior information or data, so we've been learning the whole time and trying different things, and some things were good, some things were bad, so yeah, there's been a little bit of development going on obviously, but when we come to a race, the idea is to win. We've not lost that, and hopefully we'll carry that on into next year also.
both bits go hand in hand. It's about making a bike that we look forward to hopefully winning on next year as well as this year, and developing it so we always have in mind what we've got to do next year on the bike when the whole series goes 600.
After victory in the F2 category in the sprint race, Ben and Tom Birchall held an insurmountable 79-point lead and were confirmed World Trophy champions. But with Bachmeier and Weschelberger retiring in the early stages, the battle for second overall was reignited. Grabmüller and Kirchhofer 2 points ahead with 2 races remaining.
Das Rennen gestern für uns war,
Yesterday our start was very poor and it took a long time to pass the 1000cc outfits. Once we were in front of some of them, we were able to ride several laps alone, which was very good and enabled us to ride some good lap times.
Eigentlich gute Rundenzeiten auch noch zum Schluss gefahren.
Reeves and Clues moved to third with 20 championship points in the sprint race, but it was hardly the result they needed, behind Schlosser and Hofer, who became the main challengers to Päivärinta and Kainalainen. The Finns' advantage was cut to 17 points with 2 races remaining. A second and third place finish would be enough for them to seal the championship crown. Yesterday we finished third, which was okay in terms of the points. Today we need the same result or better for the championship. 21 outfits returned to the grid for the gold race. Smits and Verhagen missing out after a suspected broken femur for Jeffrey Verhagen in the team sprint race crash. A perfect start for Gray and Christie leapfrogged them from 9th on the grid to a brilliant 6th, while Ben and Tom Birchall were forced to chase from the fringes of the top 10 after another slow getaway. Holden and Wilkes were straight onto the tail of Gray and Christie, who battled to hold their elevated position in the early stages. The lead group settling down quickly. Schlosser and Hofer pulled 7/10 of a second clear of Reeves and Clues on lap 1, with Päivärinta and Kainalainen 3/10 further back, but well clear of Delanois and Rousseau. Holden and Wilkes made their move at the end of lap 1 down the inside of Gray and Christie and up to 6th position. Ben and Tom Birchall closing up through the hotel complex for a move of their own as the sprint race rivalries were resumed in the gold race. Gray and Christie dropped steadily backwards in the opening 6 laps to 10th. Meanwhile, further down the order, Bachmeier and Weschelberger safely negotiated Gallern and Deely after their sprint race collision. But their custody of 17th place was short-lived as Axelsson and Nealance recovered from the back row of the grid down the inside to pass both outfits and take the position. Starting is a critical weakness for the F2 runners, and Grabmüller and Kirchhofer dropped from 12th to 15th on the opening lap, but steadily recovered to their starting position in the opening half of the race. They moved smoothly past Brunazzi and Rijondo on lap 4, creating a 3-outfit buffer to their nearest F2 challenger from second in the class. Half a second was the largest gap between second and third in the early stages as Reeves and Clues failed to break clear of Päivärinta and Kainalainen. After 3 laps of running within 2/10 of their championship rivals, the Finns made a first attempt at an inside pass into turn 1. Reeves and Clues, sticking to the racing line, held on. As the 2 outfits fought with one another, Schlosser and Hofer built a 5-second buffer. Having failed down the inside into lap 8, Päivärinta and Kainalainen looked to the outside when their next opportunity presented itself 2 laps later. Reeves and Clues ran wide coming off turn 14 at the end of lap 9. Päivärinta and Kainalainen lined themselves up for the pass, but the 77 defended track position perfectly. Ben and Tom Birchall stuck with Holden and Wilkes in the race for 6th, waiting to capitalise on their superior tyre preservation in the latter stages. But the fight was decided when Holden and Wilkes ran off track, passing back markers. Number 3 dropped 2 positions before returning to the track in 8th. Schlosser and Hoffer looked set for a second perfect weekend of the campaign to reduce their championship deficit to just 8 points coming into the final race of the season. But they slowed less than a minute from the checkered flag, electrical problems proving terminal for their race, a cruel way to be denied a shot at the championship less than half a lap from the end of the penultimate race finish. Reeves and Clues were the main beneficiaries, opening a 5-second gap over Päivärinta and Kainalainen through the back markers and taking their 4th race victory of the campaign. Tim Reeves labelled the victory a birthday present from Schlosser and Hoffer on the day of his 44th birthday. In reality, the victory only gave him 1 extra point over Päivärinta and Kainalainen, but the result moved Reeves and Clues up to 2nd in the series, their best ranking since the opening race of the campaign.
Do you want that one?
Last lap retirement for Schlosser and Hoffer rules them out of the World Championship chase. Delanois and Rousseau taking 3rd in the race and moving above the Swiss duo in the series overall. Only 8 runners finished on the lead lap and only one of them an F2 outfit. Ben and Tom Birchall maintaining their winning run.
Very hard, yeah, it was difficult, but I think the same for everybody. But we tried as hard as we could to save a little for the end and push, but yeah, it was good. It's great to win again, and you know, to be the Formula 2 600 World Trophy champions, it's perfect to take this victory to the next round at Donington, which is our home race, and we look forward to seeing all our friends and sponsors at that one and say thank you for this year.
4 outfits remain in mathematical contention for 2nd in the F2 World Trophy, but the series is decided in favour of Ben and Tom Birchall, who go into the final round of the campaign with their home Grand Prix and an opportunity to take a clean sweep of victories in class.
And Tom Birchall.
5 retirements in the World Championship class leave the race with just 12 finishers and without Schlosser and Hoffer. Reeves and Clues taking their 4th win of the campaign.
Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for the best birthday present of this year. And for us, it's perfect. It gives us a slim chance for the championship. And, you know, we had some very bad luck in Hungary, and now someone else has had some bad luck. And if we can just carry on for Donington, then who knows? When we have a very slim chance, and we'll go in there to try and win. So that's all we can do.
Rocha and Burkhardt record their 2nd top 5 finish of the season after Holden and Wilkes failed to recover from their off-track excursion. They restore their 9-point advantage over their rivals for 6th in the championship. Reeves and Clues move 2nd overall, but the big winners after Schlosser and Hoffer's retirement are Päivärinta and Kainalainen, who need just 13th place in the final round to be crowned world champions.